Now, I want to get you on energy issues. I don't know whether you saw my story at the top of the program about what the CEO of IMPEC said in Parliament today. You were probably at that lunch, I suppose.
No, but I heard it.
But I mean, he's saying that the critical fact here is not only are our policies a disincentive for investment in gas in our country, and we're blessed with massive resources here, so we're hurting ourselves economically, but he points out this is damaging the environment because it's going to lead to greater use of coal rather than gas.
Chris, we worked really hard through COVID to maintain this country's reputation. Reliable supplier, guaranteed to get supply, and it's been killed in just a week with a Green Labor government deal. And they're exactly right. They've said that Australia is no longer that reliable destination for investment. And here's the nonsense part, right? So if you're going to try and produce cement, well, it's almost impossible to meet this. There's no way to do it. There's roughly 600 tonne of cement in one of those big bird-killing turbines that swings around that Chris Bowen's so keen on. And you're going to have to import it because our cement suppliers in Australia, there's no way for them to actually meet the safeguard mechanism. You've got a cap now of 30% for offsets. And even that is just terrifying as how many millions, tens of millions of hectares that you'll need to actually do that. And what do? What do they close, right? That's what they do.
You're predicting that companies will close down in this country?
Absolutely. If you can't meet the standard that's been set in terms of reductions in emissions, you've got legacy equipment, you've got legacy factories, that they just produce what they produce. You now can't offset them through some other means because they've said you can't have more than 30% offsets. The only solution, and they will get their CO2 reductions because those businesses will go.
They'll go overseas. They'll have their emissions overseas. So again, the planet doesn't benefit. You still have the emissions. It's insane. Great for China. It's very good for China. Tell us about the agricultural sector, though. Farmers are starting to see how this is going to impact on them.
Well, there's about 426 million hectares of agriculture in Australia. There's a big fat report from the CSIRO last November, I think it was, 2022. They run through all of the very detailed protocols for CO2 reduction. I'll give you a couple of easy numbers. Tanya Plibersek has said that she's going to have 30% of the nation tied up as nature reserves. You need another 60 million hectares to do that already. Just one model, regenerative model. You can cut about 60 million tonne of CO2, but you've got to take 30 million hectares of food-producing agriculture out of production to do it. And that only gives you 60 million tonne. You've got Bowen talking about 200 million tonne plus. It's just not achievable.
We're already seeing this, particularly in your own home state of Queensland, aren't we? Where vast areas of suboptimal grazing land is being brought up as essentially a carbon offset. And it's just not productive anymore.
Well, the CSIRO report is very clear. It's got to be cleared or partially cleared ag land, or you don't meet the protocol requirements. And in Queensland, they've put these overlays across great swathes of the country, biodiversity offsets and everything else across freehold land that these people have now found themselves with land they can't use. It's theirs.
Thanks for popping in, Keith. We're going to see a lot more harm, a lot more national self-harm before people wake up to all this stuff, I think. Keith Pitt there, the former Resources Minister.